Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh.
Steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do what makes us feel right.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Welcome to the Soul Purpose Show. Welcome to the Soul Purpose Show. You are with Keith, your host.
And Monica.
Okay, I was a little confused because today is best and worst of October, and we usually do this at the end of the month, but because we have so much going on, we decided to do best and worst today. So I'm a little kind of off my game a little bit, but welcome anyway. This month has just been like overwhelming.
For sure.
Overwhelming. But I'm most excited about what happened this month. We reached a milestone this month.
We are at 1,000 followers.
Okay.
I don't know what you want to do.
Like that thing.
Okay. Whatever.
So we actually hit 1,000 followers this month. We really kind of didn't campaign for it. We just kind of asked people if they would help us hit our 1,000 followers. And now of course we're over 1,000 followers. So we are super excited and feel blessed that we have over 1,000 people now that follow us, which means that we show up even more on their timeline. In addition to the fact that our videos are still getting between 2,500, 4,000 views. I saw that our homecoming video.
Which one?
With Dr.
Robinson. Dr. Robinson, yes.
With Dr. Actually actually hit over 3,500 views as well. So I'm super excited about that because today is
homecoming.
So you're gonna say
the rattlers don't eat, we don't sleep. It's homecoming day, but it's been homecoming week.
Yes.
We would typically, our son this morning said, because we did FAMU did virtual homecoming. I think a lot of HBCUs are.
It's today.
Yes, today is homecoming, the actual homecoming day. And we are sad, but we know that the Rattlers are still connected virtually. We actually had a virtual homecoming this morning. We had lots of alumni on the virtual homecoming talking about their their most memorable homecoming experiences. So we're not on the hill. We would have gotten up early this morning, and our son, I was listening to, I was listening to virtual homecoming this morning, and our son was like, are we going to a parade? And I was like, no,
we're not.
We're not going to Tallahassee. So he was like, oh man. so he's not the only person that's disappointed. So I know tons of thousands upon thousands of Rattlers are disappointed on this day because it is our homecoming.
Now the virtual homecoming program that's going on, I think still right now.
I think they're looping it. It was this morning. They're looping it. So it's still, if you want to go on, it's on FAMU's YouTube station. So if you want to look, and it's kind of a live, but it was this morning. It was really good. Dr. Robinson was on. You had some other alumni on, including yours truly. I was asked to give my.
What was your favorite homecoming memory?
My favorite I have several, but the one that I mentioned on the video was the homecoming where my freshman class came back, freshman class of 1993. and we were able to raise a little over $56,000 to donate back to the school that's going to go help current and future students. But in that same vein, during virtual homecoming, and I give props where props are due. Now, I was very happy with our freshman class. And so freshman class in 1993, we haven't technically met our goal. So we got 30 coming up. And so we're going to reach for that 100,000 plus goal. But the freshman class of 2000 raised $260,000 to give to Florida A&M University. So freshman class of 2000, props up, big props up to you all. That is huge. So kudos to y'all. That's huge.
And also, and I think my wife is actually going to sing our alma mater here shortly. But
did I say I was going to do that?
Huh? No.
You know, I can't.
So, but in follow up to that, though, in just kind of the context of that, we actually decided, which is really kind of one of our best things for the month of October, we actually decided to dedicate this whole month to homecoming. So this is HBCU homecoming month as far as we're concerned. And I know that we've had not just FAMU alum, but we've also had outstanding alumni from several different HBCUs, colleges and universities, and we're not done. This is we still have another weekend.
Yep.
We've got this afternoon.
We have this afternoon.
I'm super excited. We're gonna tell you about this afternoon when we wrap today, but we also have 2 more shows.
And so we have 2 more shows. So our morning show, we have three phenomenal women, and I'm not gonna share who they are, but we have 3 phenomenal women that'll be joining us. Actually, I'll share. LaShante Williams, who's an A&M graduate. Satura Smith, who is a Hampton University grad, and then Suzette Cardi-Lassane, who is actually my homegirl from from high school, my homegirl, and she's a graduate of Florida A&M. And then in the afternoon, our 12:30 show, we have 3 more phenomenal women. It was a women deep show. Phenomenal women. We have Talitha Anyobwele, who is the creator of Black Girl Speaks and the CEO of Rise Anyobwele Academy. We had T. Nicole Phillips, who is also a homegirl, who is a FAMU grad, who is the CEO of HBCU Pride and Joy. And then we were truly blessed that Melissa Mitchell, who is the creative impetus behind ABL Creations. Yes, ABL Creations is on our 12:30. Is going to be on our 12:30 show. So we are super excited about next week, which concludes our HC 2020 challenge.
And there's a website.
There's a website. So thank you to everybody who participated. Our hope is that on a going forward basis, we will be able to do that on an annual basis, just highlighting HBCUs through homecoming season. So it was exciting. I was going to say something else, but I don't remember what it is. So anyway.
Well, maybe you were going to sing the FAMU alma mater for all of our viewers who've never heard you sing.
Okay, so I wasn't prepared to do this, but I will because it's homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah. Okay. College of love and charity, we gather around thy noble shrine. We lift our voice in praise to thee and ask a blessing all divine. FAMU, I love you. We'll fight and win whatever the battle be. The orange and the green, thy son shall ever defend, and loyal to thy voice of love attend. FAMU, I love thee. That was impromptu, but very good. All right.
Basing that D.
I did a good job. Good job.
I
appreciate it. Good job. All right. So that was impromptu, not expected. But anyway, go ahead.
That's all right. We in the spirit today because it's family homecoming. And shout out to all our Rattlers who are listening, but also for all of our HBCU alumni. This is really the spirit that we wanted to create this month specifically because this show is really about bringing to light things of importance to the Black community.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that we're very proud of. And our HBCUs are, we talk about things that we can do to help kind of push the needle on systemic racism, contributing to HBCUs who have educated thousands and thousands and thousands of Black professionals throughout the course of history, really the last 150 years or so, is certainly noteworthy. So shout out to Dr. Robinson, who joined us.
Absolutely, Dr. Robinson, the NAA president, Dr. Friday Stroud,
Yes.
The vice chair of the foundation. So we had a full gamut of people. I do want to, since we're in this homecoming space and talking about homecoming at HBCUs, Eric Butler, because it's FAMU's homecoming, so we taking full advantage of the fact that this is A&M's homecoming. Sorry, all the other HBCUs, we love you, but this is our day.
Hey, y'all had your chance to come out to the show.
There is last year a group of alumni spearheaded by Eric Butler's call out. Did an 1887 challenge, it's going on now. Homecoming week is when we did it last year. And so the goal of the 1887 challenge is asking all alumni to give $18.87 to students at FAMU. And so minimum of $18 to current students. So if you are a parent of a child, we're going to post the information on our Facebook page. But if you are the parent of a child, or you know someone who has a child up on the Hill, drop their Cash App on our Soul Purpose page, and alumni will be looking at it. And then we ask alumni to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 students and drop $18.87 in their Cash App, and just bless a rattler on the Hill.
Be a blessing to these children.
That's right. They gotta eat.
They gotta eat.
They sad too because homecoming's not going on. They gotta eat.
Look, we spend $18.87 on lunch sometimes.
Like currently, or when we was in school?
No, not when we was in school.
Oh, I was gonna say
like now. Y'all know that you spend $20 sometimes on lunch. And $18.87, even today, for a college student, they are resourceful. They'll figure out a way to flip that into
steak,
groceries.
potatoes.
Look, go to get a hookup at the local whoever's working at the fast food restaurant.
Right.
That will get you pay for one order of fries, and then somehow another order of fries gets in the.
We're not condoning that behavior, but we know that it happens.
Sometimes.
So anyway, 1887 challenge. The information will be it's already on the Soul Purpose Facebook page, but you all go and find a Cash App for a student on FAMU's campus and just drop $18.87 in their Cash App and bless them.
Please do. And since we're being impromptu, you created a website for the Soul Purpose Show. Are we ready to launch yet or no?
It's live.
What is our website, honey?
It is https you can excuse that. Just put the Soul Purpose Show, all one word, .com.
The soulpurposeshow.com website has been launched. It is live. We're going to build that website into an information portal so that you can go to our website, which is 24 hours. You don't have to log into Facebook or anything else. You can go to our website and get all of the links for all of the things that we talk about. We shout out Black-owned businesses on our show. We have guests who have written books. There's just a wealth of information that we try to bring you every week on our show. And we want to make sure that our viewers has access to that information at all times. Yes. There's actually a blog space that was created as well.
Yes.
I think you've already done one entry.
I have done one entry.
The blog entry is going to be insane because both my wife and I actually do write.
And we like to talk.
And we're going to do a lot of that talk. We're going to reduce it into a blog space so that you can interact and you can comment on our blog as well. So we're excited about that. So this is not our official launch for the site. This is just want to let you know it's out there but at some point we're going to do some cool stuff with that as well. I've actually asked my lovely wife to talk about something that she created as well. Another one of her brainchildren features our children. And it's called Be My Voice. Tell us what Be My Voice is all about.
So since we're doing best and worst, one of the best things of October has been, October is voting month. So people are voting now. And if you've seen like these long lines all over the country, that's huge because that's, voter excitement. But there's also a worse to that because it means that voter suppression tactics are on full board. But that wasn't what you asked me.
Yep.
So there's a lot of voter initiatives, and if you all tune in periodically, you know that we have another podcast that is all kids. It is called the Soul Purpose Kids and SBK, and these babies, they do the whole show. We're just behind the scenes. They plan the content. They have meetings about what they're going to discuss. And if you've never tuned into Soul Purpose Kids, we strongly recommend, because those babies are fire and are speaking truth. And so the last Soul Purpose Kids show was the beginning of the month, October 3rd. And on that show, they were talking about voting. A lot of what they're very politically engaged and very politically aware. And one of the things that they said was they couldn't vote, and they were expressing how frustrated they were about the fact that they hear people are not going to vote. And they had this long conversation about, if I could vote, I'd do this, or if I was going to vote, I'd do this. And they are very clear about who they're supporting. And
which we didn't influence in any
at all on any level. And one of my girlfriends, Meredith Gaunt, she recorded her son, who's about 4, almost 5. Same age as our son, and asked him, why is it important to vote? And she recorded it and she posted it on her Facebook page. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. And then because I get these ideas kind of in the middle of the night, I said, ding, I have an idea. So I gave her credit. Full credit goes to her, because the Soul Purpose Kids talked about voting, but she was absolutely the trigger that just kind of popped that creative bug in me. So I reached out to SPK and said, how would you all feel about doing a Get Out the Vote initiative geared towards getting older people out to vote and encouraging people to vote? And it's entitled Be My Voice. And so it's on our Facebook page. It's streamed a couple times. We have some other kids that have some other young people who have decided they're going to record their videos, and those videos have been posted. I'm still getting videos in. And so the whole purpose of Be My Voice is these young people are asking us who can vote to speak on their behalf. And they are giving reasons why we need to vote and why it's so important to vote. And so if you are a parent and you don't have a problem with your child being on social media, send us the video of your child's 45 to 60 second video with them explaining why voting is so important. We're going to hashtag Be My Voice. I'll put together the video and we'll send it out. So we got about 11 days left until the election, but that was the initiative. I'm hoping that it will last beyond just this presidential election, because as you know, as we always say, voting is important beyond just the presidential races. It's about anytime there's an opportunity for us to use our voice, that's that. But that is the Be My Voice challenge, or initiative rather. And these young people are absolutely using their voices to encourage some of us older folks that want to sit on the sideline and just let things happen. So that is what that was.
It really is phenomenal. If you've not seen it, please do yourself a favor and just go to our Facebook site. We got to figure out how to put it on the website.
Yes.
We'll go to our Facebook site and search for Be My Voice, and you will see the product that these kids. And speaking of Be My Voice, so what essentially the message is: if you are of age to vote, then go to the polls and be our voice. Represent us. Represent for us.
We can't represent ourselves.
And one of my best for the month, and it might be my overall best for the month. Speaking of age to vote, is I don't know if I've ever shared with our viewing audience, but both of my parents are gone. But my grandmother, who is my mother's mother, is actually still with us.
And she is fiery baby.
She is 101 years old.
Ms. Mary got all her good senses, and will let us all know who we are in our place. Stand down.
She is still with us, and she is still I don't know about kicking. I wouldn't say kicking.
No, I mean,
not a whole lot of kicking from the wheelchair.
She's not kicking from the wheelchair, but she's kicking with her mouth, because she'll let you know I am still the mama.
Yep. Yes, she is, and I'm so super proud of her. This week I got a picture. My older brother took her to got her ballot, got it filled out, and got it submitted. So my 101-year-old grandmother voted, and she had a little message. Now, this show, we support whoever we support, but so we're not endorsing any particular.
He's not endorsing any particular candidate. I, Monica Harris, am endorsing a candidate, because Miss Marion said Trump has to go. So she clearly is endorsing Biden-Harris. I don't know what he's doing. I am endorsing Biden-Harris. So don't speak for me. Speak for yourself. I am endorsing Biden-Harris. And Ms. Miriam said Trump has to go. So y'all better listen to that sage wisdom.
She was concerned the last time I went to go see her. She was concerned that this person on TV was just causing a bunch of confusion. So you kind of using her perspective on things, and she doesn't like that. She don't think that, she don't think that's God. Like you don't cause it. You don't cause a whole bunch of confusion, and that's what she sees. Her television stays on all day long. So, but I'm super thrilled. Thank you, Grandma. Love you.
Thank you, Nana.
Love you dearly. Thank you for being those young people's voices.
Absolutely,
so we appreciate that. And while we're on the political tip, I think we've had both the presidential debates. We're probably going to unpack the whole presidential election at some point in the future after the election.
I just pray that it's a lively conversation and not one where we're sad. Go ahead.
It's going to be lively at some point, one way or the other. We're hopeful, but we also had the only vice presidential debate happened during the month of October.
Yes.
And what happened during the vice president?
Oh, aside from the fact that Mike Pence lied the whole time he was on the stage. Aside from that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened during
the two best for me was, the first was, and I actually used this the day after. So Kamala was talking and the vice president, as sometimes they tend to do, tried to interrupt her flow. And she said, Mr. Vice President, excuse me, I'm speaking. And she said it so smooth, right? And then you see her laugh and then shake her head. And I don't know if she flung her head, but she said, excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. Baby, when I tell you, it gave me my entire life, and I used it the next day. I was on a phone call with somebody and he tried to interrupt me. I said, excuse me, I'm speaking. Woo, they gave me such. It's empowering. And he couldn't say anything because I didn't scream at him, but I was like, excuse me.
Well, and the rules are the rules. And when you set these rules and you set these parameters for these debates, as long as both individuals are playing by those rules, then everything is cool. But when one individual decides that, well, wait a minute, I've got to say something, then I think it does give the other individual the right, to say or to interrupt and say, excuse me, this is my time. Mm-hmm. And if I've been given this time to speak, then it is rude for you to interrupt me. I'm actually fine with that.
And I will share, in all full transparency, I am very guilty of that. My family knows. And part of it is because my brain thinks so fast that I know that if I don't say it then, I'll forget it later because I've moved on to the next thing. So I interrupt my husband a lot. So that is a bad habit of mine. See, I full transparency. All you have to do is say, excuse me, I was speaking.
Do I have to?
No, you don't have to do that. But if you say, excuse me, I was speaking,
then you'll be quiet.
I'll be shocked the fact that you use a softer tone, so probably we'll stop talking. Just like, really? Okay, I'll stop talking.
I believe it when I see it. But obviously, it was a cool moment. And then, of course, the other thing that happened that also kind of started a hashtag. I'm speaking, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking became probably its own hashtag. The other interesting hashtag had to do with a certain
Fly Sean Jenkins.
So the fly made a unceremonious appearance. The vice presidential debate, while the vice president was speaking, while he was speaking. It just so happened a fly made its way into this arena that they were staging the debate from. And landed just coincidentally, right on the top of his head in perfect camera view. So such that those of us who were watching from home were saying to each other, "Is that a fly?
Well, see,
is that a fly? Is that a bug on his head?"
What I will tell you, when I was watching the debate, initially when I looked, I was like, "Did something fall?" I thought something fell from the ceiling. Mm. I was like, "Is that something like a piece of maybe this? I don't know what I thought it was, but I didn't think it was a bug or a fly until I saw it move." I said, "Here's a fly on his head! Oh no!"
And so I'm going to go on record
and it stayed there.
It stayed there the whole time.
It stayed there the whole time he was lying.
It's
The whole time he was telling untruths, fake news, whatever you want to say, it stayed right in his head.
So they asked the vice presidential, the Democratic nominee,
Senator Harris.
They asked Senator Harris afterwards in an interview, did you see The Fly? And she said, yes, as a matter of fact, I did see it. And so I have to give her credit. I do have to give her credit because it would have been very distracting for me.
She stayed focused.
But as an opponent, I probably, knowing kind of how the political game works, like it's really all about optics and it's really all about gaining an advantage over your opponent during the race, I probably would have been tempted to say, excuse me, Mr. Vice President,
you have a fly in your head.
not only are you interrupting me, but you would want to get the bug off of out of your hair. Which would have probably had a big impact.
Well, I will. She did stay focused. I will say, however, that The Fly has his own. I don't know if he's still active on Twitter.
He had his own Twitter,
but he has his own social media presence. Mm-hmm. And I call him. Somebody else called him Fly Sean, so I can't really take credit for that. But Fly Sean has told y'all to vote. He has a whole he did a whole Instagram that says The Fly with the OTE. So Fly Sean Jerome has told you all to go and vote.
Just go to the polls.
It's just go to the polls. So the fly and excuse me, I'm speaking, are the best. That's probably top. If I had top 5, that probably is number 2 on my list of the top. That was classic.
It was classic. It was classic. I want to bring up one other best of. Now, when we come out of our I want to bring up another best of before we go on the break. When we come out of our break, I do want to hit on some serious things that happened during the course of the month that I actually feel pretty passionate about. But I do have a lot of sports this week to talk about. And there's been a lot of sports news, I think, and for the month. So I think we would be remiss without mentioning, for those of you who are Los Angeles Lakers fans, and for those of you who are LeBron fans, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers for winning.
Y'all beat my Heat. Y'all beat my Heat.
And they won that series over a very, very, very young, talented team that was playing very well. And a lot of people probably assumed that the Heat actually had a chance to win. And the Heat, ironically, didn't have a whole lot of stars, superstars, like the trend now is to stack your team with these superstars, and like the Lakers have done. But the Heat chose not to do that. Instead, they have a lot of good, talented young players that all kind of played at very high levels. They just got outmatched, I think, by the Lakers, who were a superior team.
But I don't know, because this year has been so chock full of so much stuff. I mean, LeBron said at the beginning of the year, after Kobe died, unfortunately, that he was going to bring the ring back. I mean, it's no
huge thing.
It was a huge thing to say at the beginning of the year, because no one knew that COVID was gonna happen, and then you'd have to kind of reevaluate how you were going to play the season. But it wasn't surprising for me that they won, because I think that they, in the back of their minds, they had that energy to kind of bring the chip home for in honor of Kobe. So. I love the Heat, will always be a Heat fan, but kudos to the Lakers and LeBron for winning that championship. It was a good. The parts I watched was a good series.
It was a good series. It was, and the games actually were very. Most of them were competitive, and the Heat kind of made their statement. But the one thing I would like to say before we go to the break that I want to count as really kind of one of the best of. And that is professional sports, of which I'm, kind of a sports junkie, made some shifts and some pivots because of COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So all of them were trying to figure this thing out as we go, because of the first thing for all of us.
Yeah.
And the NBA, I think, should be commended on how they chose to do it. And I know that it would be hard to do it in every sport, and I get all of that, but the way they did it was they created this thing called the bubble. Mm-hmm. And people kind of made jokes about it. And, you're going to put all these guys in a bubble, you're going to quarantine them so that they can't interact, and once you come into the bubble, you can't leave the bubble. They're going to be away from their families, etc. And so we all kind of scoffed at it at first, but the end result was the NBA got an opportunity to kind of go through their season with relatively no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it made for a very clean. Now, it was a little strange watching the crowd pictures of people, kind of the videos of the crowd pictures or whatever, a little weird, but over time, you even got accustomed to watching that. So kudos, shout out to the NBA for managing to pull off a season without any major delays, et cetera. And crowning a champion. And obviously the Lakers dedicated their win to an icon of the sport. We all were so super sad when Kobe passed well before his time. But congratulations to the Lakers.
Congratulations. And I don't think we're taking a break yet. Did you want to shout out your little home team?
Sure.
Your home team?
While we're on the subject of sports, and my favorite sports was like every once in a while I had to kind of get personal about this thing. I happen to be a Tampa native, and this year, back on September 28th, which was officially last month, but we didn't have a show after my Tampa Bay Lightning NHL franchise won the Stanley Cup. We're going to talk more about my Tampa teams because I'm going to gloat a little bit. Y'all just have to look. Whose show is it? It's my show. So y'all gonna have to hear about that, and then we're gonna get into some other sports things. We're gonna get into some other work stuff.
All right. We'll be back after the break.
I better be ready by 9 for the party that's on.
Don't you bring me a baby brother? We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
But
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this. You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in a bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go.
Welcome back, folks, to the Soul Purpose Show. I'm Keith, and this is my lovely co-host, Monica. We had a great first half of our show just talking about the best and worst of October. I think I actually closed before the break. We started talking about my home team, which I'm very, very proud of. I am a big sports fan. And it just so happens that during the month of the last week of September, the Tampa Bay Lightning actually won the NHL Stanley Cup. Now, I used to work for the team. I will tell you that what I learned about hockey during that period of time is it is probably the most difficult championship of all the professional sports.
I would agree with that.
To get. So
I don't think people realize that though. It's very physically taxing.
Extremely physically taxing. And if you're not a hockey fan, I would encourage you to, learn a little bit about the sport, especially when fans are allowed to come back. You see it live. It's really phenomenal. And so shout out and kudos to the boys to bring home the cup. This is their second Stanley Cup win, because the first one was back in 2004. The other thing is that my home team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's a lot of news that just follows the Bucs, because as you know, in the offseason, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady.
Oh my gosh! Can you see my disdain? I'm sorry, I know you were talking. You should have interrupted me and saying, "Excuse me, I was talking." Sorry.
Excuse me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so obviously y'all know Tom Brady was opted. He wasn't traded. Obviously, he was a free agent. Decided to come to Tampa, and so I usually follow the Bucs as well. And it just so happens that they are 4-2 and they're on top of their division and playing pretty well. So I have to give them a shout out. Also, the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team, our Major League franchise, they won the American League pennant and are now in the World Series. They are down 2-1. But hopefully we'll figure out a way to come back. And a lot of people don't know, soccer is actually the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about NFL and NBA, Major League Baseball, but soccer is the biggest sport in the world. And Tampa does have a professional
Rowdies.
It's the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Right. And it just so happens that the Tampa Bay Rowdies are in the Eastern Division championship finals, I should say finals. And if they win tonight, is actually they play tonight. If they win, they go on to the soccer championship. So we're slowly.
Isn't that the World Cup?
Not the World Cup. The World Cup is not the professional sports league. The World Cup is actually the World League of all of the countries. I don't know. And the World Cup is probably, and I mentioned the Stanley Cup, but the World Cup is probably one of the most difficult championships titles to receive.
Well, I rolled my eyes. I'm not a Brady fan. I'm happy that you are happy that he is here and that they are helping your team, because the Bucs were struggling. But other than that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Do you have anything else before I jump back into LeBron? I do want to mention some more stuff.
Yes, I actually do. So I have I don't know if we're going to talk about this later. It's kind of the worst. Like, we're going to talk about the worst, but I do have two bests. The first is Princeton renamed one of their buildings that was named for Woodrow Wilson. And he was the former president who is extremely racist, showed A Birth of a Nation within the White House. But they renamed one of their, I'm gonna get the information so I'm right about this. They renamed one of their buildings on campus for Melanie Hobson, who is the co-CEO of Ariel Investments, and she sits on the board of, she's an African-American woman, sits on the board of Starbucks and JP Morgan Chase, I believe. But they renamed their residential college she's a major donor, and she's the first Black woman to have that honor in the school's history. So Hobson College will be built on a site once named for President Woodrow Wilson. They announced that, I think, this week. And the removal of his name from the School of Public and International Affairs and one of its residential colleges, citing his racist thinking and policies. So kudos to Princeton for that. So that's a positive for me. And then the other positive, now top 5 for me in terms of best. Y'all, listen, I am a strong Democrat, have been a Democrat all of my voting life. But when I tell you that I think that Steve Schmidt and Rick Wilson are bae, the Lincoln Project, Michael Steele, all these people who I have definite disagreements with on policy, and the Lincoln Project, baby, I am following them. I think I gave them some money. But they are phenomenal in terms of the ads that they're bringing out. I was telling Keith the other day that Democrats can take take a clue from the Lincoln Project in terms of how they do their ads. Now they're pretty hard hitting, but the ads are effective.
So, and just for clarification, so the Lincoln Project was actually formed by disgruntled Republicans.
Is this affected people that just over what we got going on right now?
Republicans who have decided that kind of enough is enough is that the current Republican Party has really just kind of left its some of its fundamental beliefs and some of its fundamental kind of normal thinking people, conservative thinking people, and have formed with heavy fundraising and heavy funding and heavy endorsement, an extremely organized campaign against the current president.
And it is. I mean, none of it. What they're saying is untrue, but
it
it is
very
stinging.
Very,
it is stinging.
very
So Lincoln Project for this whole electoral season is on my best list because they are coming hard, and it bothers them. It bothers because Trump's super sensitive, so it bothers them. But they are hitting the jugular every time, and they're effective, I think, because I think they are expressing the views of a lot of moderate, kind of center right folks who just are not happy with what's going on right now. So kudos to the Lincoln Project. That's a paid endorsement or whatever. They're unpaid endorsement, but
otherwise. I think now I'm not sure how tied Michael Bloomberg is to that initiative, but some other news that came out was really just kind of some of the effects of the money that he committed. So he committed some humongous amount of money, just literally to help the party, if you will, unseat Trump very strategically. That money has been very strategically utilized. And here in the state of Florida, it has kept the president who claimed Florida before, barely. It's really kind of kept him on his heels trying to campaign.
He's here today. I will share though that I was reading a news report that said that the money that he committed to helping with Amendment Forgery to pay off the fines of felons, apparently they haven't gotten that money. But I think a part of the reason is that as soon as he made the announcement that that's where the monies were going to go, our Attorney General had said, let's do it per Matt Gaetz was the person that prompted that, but our Attorney General said because the governor asked her that she was going to do some investigation about some type of illegal, to challenge and do an investigation in terms of, his committing to paying off those fines. And so I think that's crap, but I don't know, based on the article I read this week, I'm not sure if they've gotten the funding, but he did commit to it. So whether or not they've actually given the money over, I'm not sure yet. But
and it's a good segue into what's kind of really, really happening, which is voter suppression. Voter suppression is real. So all of these lawsuits against this thing and that thing and the other are coming about because there is a grassroots and otherwise effort to really just kind of suppress the Black vote. I wanted to talk a little bit more about LeBron James for a moment. I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I believe he's the greatest basketball player of all time. But that's a kind of a whole nother issue. And I know LeBron takes a lot of criticism. But the thing I really liked about what I see coming out of him and him using his platform this month is the maturation of his activism, because he has come out before and kind of jumped in the political fray by tweets and whatever else, he's naming individuals, and some of those personal attacks, which have also come back to him, were ultimately maybe not as effective as someone who with as large a platform as he has. And so his latest initiative, which is he's partnered up with this at We Win Black, is to combat misinformation that targets Black voters. So there's a lot of misinformation out there that's being specifically targeted at Black voters to kind of be a distraction and to kind of throw them off. And LeBron has decided to use his platform to combat that. So I actually saw the tweet just from last night, as a matter of fact, the tweet that says, and I just kind of wrote the quote down, "One person can make a difference. You don't need to be a star to have a voice. It starts with us." And there is a phenomenal video that accompanies it of a young lady. It kind of puts you in the mind of Kobe's daughter that's out there on the basketball court, just kind of shooting hoops. And that has over 1.6 million views already. So
yeah, I mean, I think the mindset right now, because of the voter suppression efforts, there's a kind of an all hands on deck. I mean, Michelle Obama has When We All Vote, and so there are a lot of initiatives out there really geared towards the Black community and the Latino community, really to energize folks and explaining to people how important it is to vote. Like there's, even locally, there's a parade. When we leave our second show, we're headed over to participate in parade to the polls. I'm participating. I'm speaking tomorrow at a Get Out the Vote event. So it really is. We have 10 days left as of tomorrow to encourage folks to get to the polls and vote early. And so, listen, whoever's going to do, if you have a voice and you have a platform, our platform is, we have a platform. It's not huge like LeBron's, but I think it's a good platform. Utilizing your platform to engage, to educate, and to energize people to vote, particularly in this season, because there's so much at risk. So kudos to LeBron for using his platform for a positive purpose.
And our platform is your platform. So to the extent that we encourage you every week to engage, post, contact us directly. We actually have on the website that we created, we actually have a contact us now. So get a hold of us and let your voice be heard, because to the extent that we can continue to do this in front of thousands and thousands of people every week, we're going to continue to let our voices be heard as well. I had on my worst for the month. I know we're talking about politics and activism, but I had on my worst just COVID. Like this month represented the worst of COVID.
There's spikes all over.
The spikes in Florida and well, actually in 33 out of 50 states. All of the numbers are going in the wrong direction. There's more and more cases that are being reported.
And yet your president still decides that he's not going to wear a mask, not going to encourage people to wear masks, makes fun of people that are wearing masks, downplays the virus, says on the last debate that younger people aren't dying from it.
Turning the curve.
It's all a lie. It is all a lie.
And a vaccine.
And a part of the problem is, so they're working on a vaccine. They're absolutely working on a vaccine. But he's created so much distrust in this whole season and refuses to take accountability. I can do a whole hour show on the problems with this president in terms of his response to the pandemic, and frankly, our governor, because Florida is spiking. I think COVID is a challenge. I know we know people personally who have succumbed to this virus, who have gotten sick from this virus. It is real. And so when we say wear masks, we wear masks. We wear masks, social distance. This thing is real, and it is impacting and killing us. It's killing Black and brown people at a disproportionate rate. And the numbers and the stats are out there. And the fact that you have leadership that doesn't take it seriously and is downplaying it and acts like it's a joke, it's irresponsible. And frankly, as Joe Biden said, if you got 220,000 people dead on your watch, you don't deserve another 4 years. And that's real. 224,000 plus people are dead because of his incompetence. And so I'll go further to say that the folks in Florida so the people in Florida that died are dead and have died because of not only this administration's incompetence, but the incompetence of our governor, because he refuses to take responsibility and do what he needs to do to keep the citizens of Florida safe. And I think they should and probably will pay a political price for that.
And it's interesting you mentioned, because the political price that they pay is being exacerbated now. And this actually absolutely has made my list worse, because because the platform is getting even more pronounced. And that is that Black males are being viewed as, popularly viewed as either reluctant to come out and support Kamala Harris, or that we are somehow really, really, really pro-Trump. Like there's this wave of Black support from Black men for Donald Trump. And there are things like, and there are issues like the Ice Cube, entanglement, for lack of a better term, because that's really kind of what it was, that are starting to lead people to sway that public opinion. The reality is that Ice Cube and 50 Cent and Snoop and Kanye, these are multi-million-dollar entertainers. And I don't necessarily ever need to hear that they are having meetings with the president. I don't care, and this is I'm telling you right now, I'm getting ready to really pissing people off. I don't care whether they're having a meeting with a Republican president or they're having a meeting with a Democratic president. The reality is you are not going to shape public policy at that level. what all you're going to do is you're going to get punked for photo ops and social media shout outs, which is exactly what happens. Go ahead.
And I don't understand why Steve Harvey had this issue.
Yes, that
should have been an example at the very beginning of President Trump's presidency. Steve Harvey made a decision against the advice and counsel of his wife, from my understanding, to go and meet with Trump.
To talk
about how they could work together to benefit the Black community.
In cities. Specifically.
And I understand. I think Steve's heart was in the right place. Yep. I think that he believed that he could reach out to this man to have a conversation, but you got to know the devil. And at the end of the day, Trump is only worried about himself. He's been like that forever. This is not new. He's been about self. He's been selfish. He's been self-centered. And to believe that because as I share with my mom, what we're dealing right now with is spiritual warfare. You can't, as a person who has these Christian values, who's really trying to do the right thing, go and try to negotiate with Satan. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Not by yourself, not unless you have. And the crazy part is, they're reaching out to nothing wrong. LeBron is a basketball player. But he recognizes I can shape policy. It's issue driven, and I can shape policy on the local level, on the state level, and I can use my influence to get people to vote. Right. Knowing I can't go meet with the president, hope he's gonna shape all this policy with some contract with Black America that half the stuff the Congressional Black Caucus has already done. Right. That's not the way this works. So I'm not begrudging Ice Cube's passion. I'm not begrudging his position that politicians and these parties take advantage of the Black vote, because it's true. That's not a lie. But there's a manner in which you do it, and you have to have the people around you that are knowledgeable about what all these things to use your voice with the backing of those folks who have been doing the work. And all that happens is they're used. And Trump ain't reaching out to subject matter experts to have a Black economist to find out what can we do to ensure that we help the economic situation of Black community. He's not reaching out to Black physicians, aside from Ben Carson, because he put him over HUD, Black physicians to figure out how is COVID really impacting Black and brown communities and what can we do to ensure that doesn't happen. He's not reaching out to those people. What he's doing is he's reaching out to people who are entertaining Black folks, because fundamentally all Trump sees us as is entertainment, to shuck and jive for him, to shuck and jive and get people to shuck and jive to the polls to cast a vote for him, or to shuck and jive and to get people to stay home. There's one or two options. Either I want you to vote for me, which most of us admit, I fully admit, Black men are not running to the polls to vote for Trump. No. But what he is doing is he's trying to depress the vote and get Black men to stay home, which is why you see some Black men, based on my social media feed, it's the worst of two evils and both devils, why I'm going to vote for either one, not recognizing that when you don't vote, I'd rather you vote for him than not vote at all. Because if you're going to vote, a non-vote is still a vote for him. If you're going to take that position, go ahead and throw caution to the wind and just go cast your vote for him.
And so what I would say,
I'm not encouraging that though, but I'm just saying.
And what I would say is, and again, it's about distracting and it's about division. And so these comments that I'm making, I'm sure are going to be met with some resistance because they see us being divisive against one another. But the issue that I have is if Q did a video, like a 7.5 minute video that he tweeted out, that really was kind of more heartfelt. It was really kind of understated and heartfelt, saying, here's what's happened, here's how I feel about what's happened, and the criticism that's come against me. And y'all know how I am, I'm hard, and I don't really care. But the interesting thing is he started that video by saying, I've really kind of been doing research. I've been doing some research. I've been understanding the history. And what I've come to conclude is a couple things. One is the issues that we have in this country are systemic. The racism against us is systemic, so it's institutionalized. Number two, we can't count on a political party to save us from these things. We have to mobilize otherwise. So he started out kind of in the right place by saying he's been doing his history, he's been doing his research.
And then he went left.
And then he went wherever he went, because the reality is if you're going to have or accept a meeting with the sitting president of the United States, then maybe, and this is just me talking, right? So maybe what you should do is say, I would love to come and sit down and have a meeting with you. As a matter of fact, have the cameras rolling and show that I'm sitting down and meeting with you. But I have that meeting once you have taken the executive order that you just signed a few weeks ago, stopping federal funding for training of systemic racism, which is, by the way, you said you've been doing your research and your history and you've determined that this is what it is. But the president that you kind of met with to talk about your contract with Black America, whatever it is, signed an executive order, said that you can't teach that.
That he don't care about you.
That teaching in and of itself is divisive.
Yep.
When the reality is, what's divisive is that all of the systemic racism, Ice Cube, that you were talking about, that has divided us as a people because it has a disparate impact on Black people. So when you have that meeting, make sure that you have him do something to put his money where his mouth is, and then let's sit down and have a meeting. That's just one example. One example. The other examples are, and by the way, Snoop then came out and said, that's my homie, and I got to back my homie, and y'all should do your homework and make sure that you know that this is what he's working on before you criticize him. No, I ain't. I'm going to criticize him because Snoop, what I didn't see is Ice Cube getting off the plane in Kentucky, Ice Cube getting off the plane in South Carolina, and getting involved in congressional races to help overthrow decades of anti-Black legislative agenda in communities where it counts. So if you want to spend some money, where is the collective? Where's the collective? Where's the Black PAC? Where's the PAC that Ice Cube and 50 Cent and the rest of the millionaire rappers all pool their money together and say, this is a political action committee where we're going to go into communities that have had histories and decades of, and we're going to overturn and we're going to support Black and white, Democrat and Republican candidates who are working on an anti-Black agenda.
And so what could, and I think Puffy has, and I haven't done too much research on it, he's created this Black political party, which I'm cool with. But when Ice Cube was on Roland Martin's show, one of Roland Martin's guests said that what you need to be doing is creating a PAC, and there is a Black PAC, political action committee. There is one, but if you are using your money and using your influence, you all get together to create a PAC, and then you can use your money and your influence to go into to Keith's point, to go into these local communities and work. As an example, in Kentucky, Mitch McConnell is awful. He got the gangrene on the hand or whatever's going on with his hand. I hope it gets better. But he got all this going on because that's nothing but the devil. That's nothing but evil that's coming out of him. Okay. So, but he's running in a race right now. And there was a brother running in the Democratic primary against the sister that's running against him, she's not doing well. What Ice Cube and them could have done, since his brother is progressive and you talk about progressive ideas, is you could have used your influence and your money and your celebrity to go to Kentucky to help this brother run against this woman to win the primary and then help him again to beat Mitch McConnell. He's not there now, but you got a woman that's running against Mitch McConnell. Focus your energies there, because fundamentally that really is where you could be making the most difference.
Because the current sitting Senate Majority Leader is rushing through a candidate that was nominated to go to the Supreme Court to help make rulings that are anti-Black rulings, that are against the Black agenda rulings. So it gets complicated.
There's so much more we could say, but we are at the end of our time. You did good, baby. You stayed calm because he was mad before this show shot by Ice Cube. So what we will say as we conclude, tune in at 12:30. Huge, phenomenal show with all of our friends. We'll see y'all in a second. But you all please vote. Vote. Parade to the polls. If you're in Tampa, parade to the polls starts at 1:45 today. We will be there. But you all please vote. October is voting month. Vote. See y'all next Saturday.
Be safe.